The real threat to American democracy is that American voters keep on voting for less immigration and our politicians keep on rewarding us with more. That is the threat to American democracy. Look, the thing on immigration is that no one can avoid that it has made our societies poorer, less safe, less prosperous, and less advanced. If you look at, for example, the United Kingdom, if immigration, nonstop immigration, was the way to create wealth and prosperity and lower home prices, then London would be doing great. And I got to tell you, I was in London last year, and it's not doing so good. I was talking with a friend recently, and we were talking about, one of the big dangers in the world, of course, is nuclear proliferation, though, of course, the Biden administration doesn't care about it. And I was talking about, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? And we were like, maybe it's Iran, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we sort of finally decided maybe it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over. The issue where I think we've made the most progress, and I have to say, this is, I think a lot of you agree with this, but where the national conservative movement has made the most progress, not just here, but I think overseas as well, is the recognition that the real threat to American democracy, it's certainly not Donald Trump. It's not even some foreign dictator who doesn't like America or our values. The real threat to American democracy is that American voters keep on voting for less immigration and our politicians keep on rewarding us with more. That is the threat to American democracy. And I had a conversation with an English friend earlier today, and one of the things that's very obvious is that all over the Western world, in Germany, in the UK, in place after place after place, populations keep on telling their leadership that they want less immigration, and their leadership keeps on refusing to listen to them. But this is like a fundamental broken translation function in our sacred democracy that our elites don't seem to care about. And why don't our elites seem to care about it? Well, number one, they really benefit from the cheap labor, okay? Number two, they actually don't really like the people who make up the domestic populations of their own country. This is one of the things that we consistently find from the UK elites to certainly the American elites, is they seem to really not like their own fellow citizens, even though the wars that they want are going to be, of course, fought by the people in the heartland and not by the people who are walking down the streets of Washington, D.C. But I digress, and I apologize for that. But look, the thing on immigration is that no one can avoid that it has made our societies poorer, less safe, less prosperous, and less advanced. Now, I remember getting in some argument with some loser on Twitter a year or so ago about whether immigration raised housing prices. And of course, the argument is that, yeah, maybe immigrants take up some more demand for housing, but they build all the houses. That's not true, by the way. Go to Pennsylvania and Ohio, you'll see a lot of very native-born citizens who still build houses. It's actually shocking, but if you go, there are some towns in Ohio where we actually had houses before the Immigration Act of 1964. I'm dead serious. We actually did build homes in the United States of America before our elites flooded the zone with nonstop cheap labor. And by the way, we can still do it. Those people can still do it. They just want to get proper wages in the process. Thanks, John. But now everybody seems to agree that if you look at, for example, the United Kingdom, if immigration, nonstop immigration, was the way to create wealth and prosperity and lower home prices, then London would be doing great. And I got to tell you, I was in London last year, and it's not doing so good. But you don't even have to go to London. You can go closer to home. The places in our own communities, in our own states, that have the highest immigration rates are the places with the highest home prices. And it's not a correlation versus causation issue. If you actually look at the metro zone by metro zone, if you go parcel by parcel, you can see that where you have more immigration, you have higher home prices. But it's not just that. There's a community called Springfield, Ohio, and it's very close to my heart because Springfield, Ohio, if any of you know the state of Ohio, is nearly a carbon copy of Middletown, Ohio, where I grew up. It's a population, sort of a small to medium-sized town, about 55,000 people. And you're not going to believe the statistic when I repeat it to you because I didn't believe it when I first heard about it. But in the last 4 years, thanks to Joe Biden's open border policies, the city of Springfield has gone from 55,000 residents to 75,000 residents. The 20,000 resident delta is almost all recent Haitian immigrants, okay? In a small town of Ohio, 20,000 people. Now go to Springfield, go to Clark County, Ohio, and ask the people there whether they have been enriched by 20,000 newcomers in 4 years. Housing is through the roof. Middle-class people in Springfield who've lived there sometimes for generations cannot afford a place to live. A third, I heard this yesterday, a third of the local county health budget is now tied up in giving free benefits to illegal immigrants. And of course, the left will fact check and say, well, they're not illegal immigrants because through the abuse of asylum laws and through Joe Biden's massive paroles, they are now no longer technically illegal aliens because according to Joe Biden, nobody is an illegal alien. The only illegal people in this country are the people whose grandparents were born here, according to the Biden administration. They're the people, by the way, who are not allowed to have an opinion about what's going on in their country because they will be silenced, they will be censored, they will be called every name in the book. But Springfield, Ohio has been overwhelmed, and you don't have to believe, of course, that the 20,000, or at least most of the 20,000 newcomers are bad people. In fact, I imagine that many of them are very good people, but my interest is not in protecting the good people of another country. I'm a senator for the state of Ohio. Our leaders have to protect the interests of the citizens of this country. And the fact that this has happened is evidence that they're not. And so I want to come back to something that I started with here, which is that we've made a lot of progress. There have been things that have been bad that have happened. I mean, you know, in my home state of Ohio, we've had a couple of ballot referenda that have not gone the right way. We lost some elections in 2022 that I think that we should have won. Of course, like I said earlier, not every foreign policy debate has gone in our direction. But by and large, the national conservative movement is winning the debate, and we're changing the conversation. We're doing that in the very, very basic and simple principle that American leaders should look out for Americans. And by the way, I know for the Brits here, UK leaders should look out for citizens of the UK or subjects or whatever you guys call yourselves. And so on for other citizens of other countries. By the way, I have to beat up on the UK just one additional thing. I was talking with a friend recently, and we were talking about, you know, one of the big dangers in the world, of course, is nuclear proliferation, though, of course, the Biden administration doesn't care about it. And I was talking about, you know, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? And we were like, maybe it's Iran, you know, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we sort of finally decided maybe it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over.